Hello all Patines, how are you all? I hope you all are fine, good and safe at home. Welcome for today's science class in 8th. And we are on chapter number 9, that is reproduction in animals. In this video, we are going to study all about the life, all about the reproduction in animals, how they grow up, how they make the generation from one step to another. Let's start this chapter with this video. How the animal reproduce, right? And why do they reproduce? And why do we need to reproduce, right? If we are talking about animals, we too are coming in the topic animals, right? Okay. So let me talk all about that. To ensure the survival of the species, to produce egg and sperm cells, to transport, sustain these cells, and to nurture the developing offsprings, and to produce hormones. All this are responsible for the reproduction, and reproduction is necessary from one generation to another. If one generation is there and we want next, then reproduction is important, right? Whether it is for plants, right, and whether it is for animals. Let's talk about the individual organism do not live forever, right? Individual person cannot live forever. Therefore, the community of the species relies on the individual reproduction. So, there are two types of reproduction, asexual and sexual reproduction, right? You can see in these animals a sexual reproduction take place and human sexual reproduction take place, and these animals also are reproduced with the sexual reproduction only. Mainly plants and unicellular organisms we can talk about, which are taking place with asexual reproduction. Okay, let's talk about unicellular organism. I told you right now, thus unicellular organisms are such as bacteria, protista, as well as some plants, fungi, or a few animals reproduce asexually. That means one parent is required for them. That is, they reproduce by the mitotic division, producing offspring that are identical to their parents. That is called clones are formed, right? And if you talk about multicellular organisms, the new individual will arises from a cellular division of an ordinary body cell, that is somatic cells. Okay. Many organisms that reproduce asexually has the ability to reproduce sexually also, but the occurrence of this may be rare. Organisms that reproduce asexually are found in stable environment to which they are very well suited. That means they reproduce in those environments only which the environment suits them, right? So rhinos reproduce mainly in water. You can say fishes reproduce mainly in water, and frogs of course reproduce in the water. But like animals like tigers, cows, and they all are terrestrial animals, so they reproduce over there on the land only. It's all depend upon their suitable environment, right? Okay. The way of reproducing asexually. There are several ways. An organism may reproduce asexually. First method is fission and budding, fragmentation, spore formation, vegetative propagation, parthenogenesis. So few we have read in the last class, that is in the 7th even we have started. Let us cover few topics today in this class. First, fission and budding I used to take. Fission is a common among unicellular such as bacteria. Some bacteria are there, right, which reproduce through this fission method. Fission occurs after the mitotic division of the nucleus, when the parent cell splits into two equally sized daughter cells, like one is split into two, to form a new organism, right? Like firstly, what happened? The nucleus is divided. That's called karyokinesis. after that the nucleus and the cytoplasm is divided, then it is called cytokinesis, right? In this way, the fission takes places and one cell will break them into two daughter cells. One into two daughter cells. Fine? Okay. Next is budding. Budding is similar to fission except that the division of cytoplasm is unequal. But here what happened, cytoplasm is unequally divided. Right? The new individual arises from an outgrowth or a bud like in hydra it take places, right? You can write it over here also, hydra. So tentacles will come out and when they grown up, they break up. The bud will break up and they grow it again into a new one. Right, this kind of process take places in hydras. Okay, this is the diagram. You can see I have told you right now these are the steps. This is hydra. Let me clear you. This is hydra. In this method, budding is take places, and here the fission take places in amoeba-like cases, paramecium-like cases, right, in bacteria and all. Okay, let us continue. Advantages and benefits of asexual reproduction. It is not there in your book, but you must know. These can be covered it up. Let us take one by one. No need to spend time and energy finding a male, right? It's great, like one unicellular is doing everything. No need to use energy resource produce eggs and sperms that potentially will need to be used. Next disadvantages is, and the cost, of course, a lack of variation within the population means the species is less. Of course, if it's breaking from one, then definitely the variety is very less. Because if we reproduce sexually, we get a lot of varieties, right? But in this unicellular, all the qualities of that parent will come over there. Okay. Let's take a bit next. That is sexual reproduction. One by one we will talk it. We have done asexually. Now we have started on sexual reproduction. Most it take places, let me clear you, in multicellular organisms. Right? Sexual reproductions involves male and female gametes, first of all. So male gametes, we talk about sperm, and female gametes, we are talking about eggs. Untiling to form a zygote, like when they are fusing together, they form a zygote. This zygote is a unique new individual introducing variations into a population, like various qualities, variations can come in this zygote because we are taking male from somewhere else and we are taking female with new varieties, and when they are fusing up, a new variety and new variations can be added over it. The cell of multicellular organisms can be divided into two broad categories. Germ cells, which give rise to the gametes, and gametes are the cells that combine in sexual reproduction to form a new organism. Somatic cells of all cells of the body with the exception of the germ cells. Right? So this is only for the introduction, like this much is enough up to your level, that a male gamete we are needing a female gamete. Male gamete is known as sperm and female gamete is known as eggs. When they fuse together, they form a zygote with a lot of variations, keep on changing. Advantages and benefits of sexual reproduction, as we have done with asexual also, and these are a few advantages we are going to discuss over here. Genetic diversity introduced by sexual reproduction can allow species to survive changing environmental conditions. This is a major benefit to the survival of the species, like whatever the changes are coming generation after generation, like when we are in a ancient age, what has happened, our parents are we know how from where they are coming, and every generation the variations are keep on going, and nowadays the variation was so much changed that even we cannot survive in a very hot environment or very cold environment. We need a moderate temperature, we need all facilities, because these variations are coming from our parents only, from their genes only, right? So many variations we got it, right? And let's talk about more. Disadvantages and cost of sexual reproduction. Let us talk about the organisms must use energy to produce germ cells. A lot of energy is even being used and utilized. Okay, first step, the organism may have to change its usual pattern of activity to ensure that gametes are brought together in the right time of the year. Like it should be a perfect timing, because in a month they get a once, the ovulation cycle respond for once only. Some reproductive behaviors may attract predators and only a reproductive male mate. Like in many times in snakes and wildlife animals, it is possible over there, like, right? Reproduction in some species leads to a deadly competitive competition between males. Like there is a very great competition. If we talk about elephants, if we talk about tigers, there is a very great different. There will become a war between these male tigers. Okay, and the cost of sexual reproduction, however, clearly overweight the cost of reflected by the fact that nearly all eukaryotic organisms reproduce sexually. We have started in the last chapter cell, prokaryotic and eukaryotics. I think you remember with this term, eukaryotic organisms. Only sexual reproduction take places in eukaryotic cells, which are having a well-defined nucleus, right? Okay, let's just continue. Stages in mammalian reproduction. Few stages are covered up over here. That is, first is gamete formation, next is fertilization, and then development of the embryo or fetus. Okay, these are the steps. First step, let me talk about, this is a male reproductive organ, and let me talk about this diagram. You can see it is not in so detail over there in 8th class, but it is basically in the senior classes, it is in quite detail. I try to sum it up in a short. Right, the consist of the pair testes are there, you can see over here, which continuously produce sperm, and in many organisms paired accessory gametes which produce secretion and make us 95% of the volume of the semen. Yes, of course, 95% of semen was prepared over there in the testes only. And the system of duct leading to the urethra. It is connected to the urethra, you can see in this figure, it was connected over here in the urethra. Right, so this much is important for you, like testes are producing the semen, and then it is passes on to urethra. Next diagram, let me talk about the figure in detail quite. You can see these names, you can learn them while drawing the diagram. Like this is the scrotum, this is the outer part which covers the testes, the epidermis, it's a layer above the testes, and then we are talking about rectum. Rectum is also over here. Prostate glands are present, seminal vesicles are there, and large intestine, you can see it is over here. Vas for deferens, it is also a part of male reproductive, and a penis and urethra. Right, these all are the male reproductive part that you have to remember while drawing the diagram. Okay, next let me take them one by one. First we will talk about testes. They produce sperm, right? You can see over here in the figure, it is also known as tentacles or gonads, right? If somewhere it is written gonads, then don't get confused, right? Okay, let me talk about new words. Duct system, vas deferens. Vas deferens in this structure, you can see over here, it is wholly covered by the green line. That's transport the matured sperm to the urethra, right? So it is pass on to urethra, you can see over here, right? And epidermis is the sperm matured in epidermis only. It's a layer which maintains the temperature of the semen, which is stored in the testes. Okay, let's talk about semen vesicles. Vesicles are attached to the vas deferens, which produce a sugary rich fluid that produce energy to the sperm, right? Okay, next is prostate glands. It make fluid in that part. Sperm structure is also over there. It is also there in your books. You can see this. Let me tell you, millions and millions of sperms are there in a time in the semen. So single structure is there, and it is the smallest, I can say, cell in the human body. Even smaller than RBC also. Yes. If you write RBC, then it's okay. If you write sperm, then it is also okay. But we go with the sperm because minute difference is there. Okay. So next is tail. First you'll see the figure. That's it's having a tail over here. Then it's a mid piece over here. And then on the head you can see ecrosome and nucleus is present over there on the head. This is the structure. Basically it is not asked singly, but you must know. And what is the journey of this sperm? Let me tell you how it is goes on. It will be better remember if we are going with stepwise, right? The first step, it is produced in testes, right? And the second, it was epidermis, will control it and maintain the temperature. After that, it visit to the vas deferens through the urethra pipe, right? And then it goes to the seminal vesicles where the hormones are also released, and after then the prostate gland also release the hormones and which help them to mix it up. And then after it goes to the urethra, and after urethra it is stored in penis where the ejections can be done through this organ. Okay, this is all about the working. Next, let's talk about the female reproductive system. The female reproductive system consists of the ovaries, which give rise to the egg cells, the fallopian tubules, and the ureters, the cervix, and the vagina. This is the diagram that you have to remember. Let me clear you again with the next figure. This is vagina. Over here, this part. This is cervix, this step. And then this is fallopian tubules. These are lots finger-like projections. This is urethra. It's somewhat V-like shape. And these here the ovaries are present. Right? Many ovaries are present over there in the ovaries. Right? Okay. Let's talk about the functions one by one. First, we are talking about vagina. Canal that contain the cervix to outside the body. Like this is the cervix, and this is the cervix, and then it is the outlet part through which it is that the fluid will come out, the ovaries will come out, and even we can say it is the birth canal also. Next, we'll talk about ureters. You can see the ureters over here in the figure. Ureters, hollow organ that is the home to develop the fetus. This can be elaborated. It's a stretchable one. It can be extend over there. Okay, I'll tell you the working. Let's see the functions where it is there. I'll tell you the whole working also. Ovaries produce egg and hormones. Oval shaped glands that are located either side of the ureters. See, on the both the side it is present, right? And secondly, hormones and eggs are produced over there only, where in the ovaries. Like single is called ova, and many ovas are reproduced at a one time with the hormones also. Like women are having two type of hormone, aldosterone and progesterone, which are produced over here in the ovaries only. Okay. Next, we are talking about fallopian tubules. In these fallopian tubules only, the ovulation cycle takes places. Okay. Tunnel of the egg cycle to travel from the ovaries to the ureters where fertilization happens. Here the fertilization happens. How it helps, I'll tell you. Let's talk about the journey and I'll tell you in detail. Right? Okay. So, let's start. Here the sperm is added over here. When it passes the pathway, it goes to the cervix. After the cervix, it reaches the fallopian tubule. Here what has happened? The egg get fused with the sperm. When they fuse together to form a fertilized egg. And this fertilized egg is covered with a coating so that the another sperm will not attack it. Then it get matured, and then it again come again in this ureters, and been stored over here, and that is called fetus, right? This is the journey, which is small step over here. Now let me tell you, the ova is present basically first in the ovaries only, where the sperm reach over there, they fuse together and form a fertilized egg, and then it come back again to the ureters for the maturity further, and then it's convert from zygote till fetus, right? It's all about, we have started about the reproduction in male and female, and I think it is quite clear that when male and female reproduce together, then the fertilization process take places. After this fertilization process, like sperm is added and to an egg, and then egg is converted into a fertilized egg. It's look like this in a first. There's a 3D model, and then it is after 6 weeks it is look like this, because it is saved in the ureters where it is converted into mother womb, and this it is called umbilical cord. It is attached to it where the all the nutrition goes away, right? Basically a layer of protein, semi liquid layer is over there, where all the proteins are transferred to that zygote. We can say all the blood is going through it, all the protein, all the food, all the oxygen, even everything is going to the baby. We can say in science we will say zygote, the word, right? Okay. And then after 8 weeks the placenta grows up and the baby also grows up, zygote also grows up, right? Then, so this is all about the fertilization of an egg by a sperm normally occur in the fallopian tubules, first point. Second, fertilized egg or cell is called as zygote, second thing. Third, the zygote then moves to the ureters, then it's implanted into the lining of the urinary wall. So please don't get confused when we say the word zygote, the fetus, all are the same thing. Like egg is converted to the fertilized egg, and then fertilized egg is converted into zygote, and then zygote then to fetus, and then fetus to baby, and so on. Alright? Okay. So that's all for this topic, sexual and asexual reproduction in animals. I hope you understand this topic very well. See the video, clear your doubts. Till then, thank you. Have a nice day. Stay safe. Stay home. Bye everyone.